Here's how flight and freeze work in dating and what you can do to get out of it. Flight is all about ghosting, avoiding when things get a bit too close and comfortable. And our worst nightmare as a flighter is that question. So, what are we? Now, Jazz asked me this when I was in my little avoidant Peter Pan way, where I didn't really commit to what was good for me. These questions are catalytic for those who are normally choosing flight. What helped me was getting very clear on what my higher self wanted. It's really getting clear on the state in which what feelings and thoughts and what is around you that you can imagine being present for when you're at your best. This will help you just with boundaries and saying yes to the right things. And to help you feel safe with closeness, it's really calming the nervous system around someone who's treating you nicely with hugs, with nice compliments. It's allowing them not to flood your nervous system as a threat, but genuinely see them as genuine acts of encouragement, love, at ease with these things, because you deserve it. It's your birthright, unless you've been manipulated in the past, but rewriting those stories is the biggest, most healing thing you can possibly do for yourself. I'd also get more comfortable with initiating, so practice asking that partner out on a date, asking for a follow-up, and setting a limit on your away and avoidance time. Sometimes, of course, your nervous system might be scared and you need to soothe that and take time. Allow that to be, but make sure you set yourself a finite goal in which you then come out of your cave and come back into dating and initiate again. Again, CBT helps here in just exposing yourself to the threat we perceived as a monster when in reality it's very blown out of proportion. It's about engaging with that threat to a point where we feel more comfortable with it. So take tiny micro steps and encourage yourself through the micro moments and celebrate your little successes in your factual way. Try and celebrate things not in an emotional sense, but in the tangible senses where you, for example, may have made 4 comments or spent more than 20 minutes with that person in a date. You may have initiated more than 5 times. Set yourself these goals and that will help you through the flight response. It will make you feel more comfortable and approach situations you may have perceived as negative and scary. Here's how freeze plays out in dating and what you can do about it. Now, I'm a typical freezer. I dissociate is a term basically where you leave your body and you lose agency basically over your decisions. You don't trust yourself and you kind of just check out, analyze and paralyze, you perfect, you try to escape that uncomfortable emotional experience that you're feeling and you don't feel safe in the environment that's present. Be an antidote to freeze response, it really is about getting back into the body, the very thing we actually fear feeling. So this may happen when the date is following up with you saying, do you want to go on another date? You may just take a lot of time, procrastinate, freeze, analyze him to every degree, and then overthink the situation. What I do here is activate your passion, your fire, your why. Get into that story where you fight for your case, fight for goodness in your life, fight to see if this is a good thing in front of you. I'd also ignite your anger, so screaming into a pillow is a good thing to do. Go Muay Thai, do boxing, do some fitness, start punching your pillow, get it out. Sometimes this anger is a beautiful way to reignite passion. Sometimes we have associated a story where aggression is bad, but the reality is that's a fuel to the fire for you to ignite change and take action. So it's really creating a better mind-body connection with bodily attunement. This is about empathizing with what your body's going through rather than neglecting and negating what your body's feeling. And that creates a big disconnect. Kind of like your body's that +1 you never wish you invited to a party. But the reality is you coexist in this situation and your body is your temple. Your body is the very thing you should be treating with the most love possible. Attune to it in the mirror. Learn to speak to your body better. Learn to spend time with it through exercise and fueling it with beautiful nutrition. Devoting yourself to willpower as to neglect booze, smoking, bullshit that's fucking up your gut, which is the part which is usually an emotional decision center, and a second brain, which we must now trust. Loving your body's ability to intuitively snuff out threat. And for those who are dissociating like me, is to never minimize your trauma. For example, if you've been humiliated in a series of bullying, one little snarky comment in a date about your dress or what you're wearing could trigger a full-blown trauma response. So forget gaslighters or those who try and minimize you with this. It's really about trying to write a more compassionate, self-attuned story which sees the trauma creating the freeze mode and coming back home to this body within. And I would suggest getting into tapping, where you can tap your meridian points on your face, your body, and saying affirmation. And I'd also suggest breathwork, which is a somatic healing therapy, which helps you get into your body and release traumas which are pent up and tension is stored. This really helped me getting tingly with my throat and communication centers, and made me go back into the unconscious stories I picked up from when I was bullied at school and also from my ex. It helped me realize there was blocks here and I just needed to speak more of my truth and be more confident and grounded in everything I was communicating. It was about believing in my gifts and believing in my presence in every given situation that I was in. You must do the same in this freeze response. And it's about being the seeker in your life for the lessons that come rather than the self-deprecator. Not focusing on what could I have done better, which all the bloody stoics and entrepreneurs always want to tell you. It's all about what did I do well and encouraging that behavior rather than focusing on everything that was not present, not going right. It's about positively attuning your mind to trust you're on the right track and you're doing your bloody best, because you are. Here's how fawning plays out in dating and what I wish I knew back then, what I do now to help myself out of it. It's please, it's rescue, it's doing all those bloody things you want to just to do to fit in and be liked. And this ends up us saying yes to everything, accepting every request, acting interested and then fading out of discussions and smiling until our cheeks hurt. It's exhausting, but what I've learned is to speak your needs, even if it feels uncomfortable. It's speaking your truth, even if it might trigger people. And it's being comfortable with that nervous system after you've communicated. So calm and knowing a little tippity taps in your meridian zones is super helpful. Breathing from the diaphragm is amazing. And making sure you're intuitive with your emotional decision making, listen and tune in to your gut, your heart, and your body rather than your head. This stuff can create irrational bullshit that tends you to perpetuate roles that you're trying to escape. And get acquainted with the brutal truth that there are narcissists, Machiavellian people who want to get what they want out of you, and psychopaths. So it's worth having a little monster inside which will fight for you, say no, set up walls and boundaries that everyone isn't good, and seeing the best in everyone is actually a bad strategy. So get acquainted with neutrality. Feeling bored, be peaceful with that. Not needing to please or not needing to devalue yourself as who you are. You don't need to perform to fit in or be accepted by anyone. And if that's the case, then you're likely surrounded by knobheads. Get rid. Fawning is all about safety with new being. It's not really doing too much, but it's simply feeling confident with who you are.